Okay, here goes. I'm a little nervous about this. Sorry about taking so long to do it. Anyhow, a couple things about the project that people don't seem to understand. I'm not generating power to power the hurricanes. The sun powers the hurricanes just like it would in natural, as it happens in nature. What happens is when you have ocean temperature above 70 degrees, you're going to get more moisture coming off of the ocean. And when that moisture gets caught up in the convection cycle, the sun heats it up, causing the convection cycle to increase. That's why the convection cycles increase in the day, decrease at night. So you need the combination of the warm ocean water temperature and the sun beating down on it, and for the area of moisture to have a really nice convection cycle going. So what I am in effect doing is I'm creating the area of moisture that starts out the convection cycle. So if my device is sitting in an area where the water temperature is 75 degrees or above, then the hurricane will generate with no problem, just using my device going. The sun's going to come down the hot moist air and start the convection cycle. Moisture is going to come off of the ocean to add to that convection cycle. The structure where I'm shooting out the fountains, it's going to add a lot of moisture to that cycle. And yes, a lot of moisture is going to cause it to rain a lot, which happens in a natural hurricane, and it happens at the start of convection cycles also. Okay, so you got the moisture from the shooting the water out of the fountains. You got the start of the convection cycle. The height and the speed of the water shooting out of the fountains, the height of the fountain structure is on the structure itself, and the speed of the water getting shot out of the fountains is a determining factor in how fast we're able to move the hurricane from the course where it wants to go. Okay, so if you have the fountains so high and shooting water out so fast, you're able to alter the hurricane's path so much. The ideal is to have them high enough and shoot the water out fast enough to get it to where you can move the hurricane in 30 miles per hour from where it wants to go. And the reason for only moving it so fast is because you don't want another eye wall to develop. Using this structure the way I have it, with the towers up so high and the water fast enough, it will prevent an eye wall from forming in an area around it. And the reason for this is because you don't have two hurricanes developing right next to each other unless like you got a mountain separating them. Okay, and the case where you get a mountain that separates the two hurricanes, one will come on, and they come together. What happens is one of the winds of one of the eye walls wraps around the other eye wall, and then the hurricane continues on. And since my eye wall does not move, it will gobble up any hurricane that comes along near it. And all the processes, if you listen to the other videos, it describes in full, or it should describe, well enough about how to generate a hurricane, move it around, provide water for areas, and the water is a crucial factor too. I mean, imagine all the residents of Southern California able to quadruple their water supply for the year. Imagine Las Vegas having all the water they need. You know, imagine refilling the aquifers all around the country with fresh water. And I have another 5 structures now that I need to develop that would go along great with this structure in regulating temperature and water control, basically. And other than that, I'm not going to get more into those other structures, but I should work on them. And I've got a bad work ethics. I'm lazy. I play World of Warcraft. I got 585s. You know, I'm more content if nobody wants to help out. You know, I'd spent a year and a half of my free time working on this project. And I was kind of expecting that after a year and a half of coming up with this idea and having a possible idea to solve the problem of global warming and to help benefit the populace so that there is an end to the starvation of and we could feed up to probably 20 billion people, although I really recommend curbing population growth. There are ways to curb population growth. Apparently nobody's doing it. We are, you know, this close to disaster in so many ways. And if we get into a disaster where we don't have, you know, we need a backup food supply for 2 years to avoid a lot of these disasters. And we don't have a backup food supply for 2 years. And with having 7 billion people not having a backup food supply, all the food is just going to be eaten. You know, if we get in a situation where we have 2 years with with not enough food being grown, people are going to die. And so we need to continue our military and everything else, and it really sucks because $50 billion in structures and $500 billion in money for controlling water for irrigation to increase agriculture. Also for providing, you know, transportation for people and cargo to go around the country. Another thing with my waterway, you could use pipes to go over mountain ranges and stuff. So it's not just limited to a waterway on the west coast and a waterway servicing the east coast. With 2 lakes at the same level, okay, and you'd want 3 pipes actually to be going over it, one kind of smaller than the other 2, but for the 2 outer ones, you would want cargo to go one way, cargo the other way, and then you have a service pipe. You could actually use pumps up at the top, or you could use, you could use windmills to power these pumps or whatever. But you could actually transport cargo up and down the length of the pipe, no matter what level they are, using locks. And then you would just need to use a 3rd pipe, as to suck water out of, to fill in the any area where you're releasing water in the usage of a lock. The more advanced the lock, the less water you use. But you could have an airlock alongside a side pipe where you have a transport go to release people and or cargo, while the rest of the cargo goes straight, and then you'd have it recombined. There's a lot of tricks. When you think of the power of the waterway, think of all of the 18-wheelers that are coming off of the freeways and how much power they use to transport the costs. And suddenly, the cost of making water go from a level of 500 to 1,000 feet, is more realistic. And keeping in mind, when that water goes back down from 1,000 feet to 500 feet, it'll be generating power. This form of power generation from where, that's the same type of power deal that like LA uses. They have a system where they generate power, when it's at non-peak activity, and then they store that power in the form of water at a higher level, and then they release that water down to a lower level, generating power. It's the same basic idea. And with that idea, you'd also have areas where you slow down the water and speed up the water to generate power, and also use power. So as it passes near heavy power plants, it could be used in non-peak times to speed the water up, and then along the route they would be generating power by slowing the water down. So it's very crucial in that method too, of being, power conductor. And other than that, I'll get on to what I want. Better work ethics by me. I'm too lazy. Diplomatic immunity. I'd like the NBA games to start again. I hear there's some talk. I don't know what's going on. Of my own concerns, they don't really matter. What needs to happen is we need to get this done. I'm going to need lots of help, lots of assistance. I should try to get to work on trying to solve another problem too, but it's all talk. So I don't feel like getting into it. But I need help. I need help now. I don't, whatever. I wish that people would, I have such a callous attitude about other people. Just look at the healthcare industry and how we spend twice as much as we have to, and half the money that we're spending in healthcare goes to paper pushers and the people that think that that's okay, when other people are sitting there dying and losing their homes. It's stupid. It's really stupid.